This is Shai Zamanian, U.S. licensed expert and the director of the American Legal Center here in Dubai. A question that's asked very frequently is, what would happen in a second Trump presidency, a second term for him, or whether the pendulum sways over back to the Democrats? Will we see changes in EB5 or U.S. immigration as we know it? What could we expect? As a lot of people tend to make sort of their plans, their future planning, based on who the next president might be, and that's totally understandable. Let's talk about the Trump administration and their involvement and understanding about EB5. And of course, this is all sort of my personal take, my educated take on the topic. So definitely do your own research in making your informed decision on the matter. So the Trump administration or the current president is well informed on the EB5 program. I sense he knows about the program. It falls in line with some of the tenets of his economic plans, that being, obviously he's limited immigration to the US. H-1Bs have been limited, lottery applications, whatever the case may be. Under this current administration, we're seeing a lot of doors to immigration close. One door that has remained wide open is naturally the EB5 program. Why is that? Because with the American legacy and history, you can't completely stop immigration altogether. That would be completely un-American. That would hinder progress and growth to the US economy. But nevertheless, under this particular visa category, that being EB5, each family seeking to gain access must invest at the minimum of $500,000, or now as we know it, $900,000, to gain that access. So obviously, if you're pushing a mantra that is less inclined to consider the inclusion of everyone and narrowly focusing on perhaps driving economic trade and these sorts of policies, as the US has benefited from them, then you would be inclined to keep EB5 wide open. The Trump administration is fully aware, again, based on my understanding of the EB5 program. There have been Trump towers on the east coast of the US, that being in Jersey City, that have been funded through the EB5 program. So years ago, Chinese investors seeking access to the US invested into these Trump towers, and then nevertheless, ultimately gained their access and green cards to the US. In a second Trump presidency, if I had to speculate, I would say the EB5 program would remain wide open. It would, if anything, continue to improve. Perhaps more visas would be allocated to this particular category as it serves the economic and well-being and job creation of the US. Even though if it silences the voices of, for example, refugees and other categories of people, this particular category, I think, should stand in a good position under a second Trump presidency. Should the pendulum swing over to the Democrats, we might see a new set of policies that would come into play. Perhaps they'd be less inclined to expand visas for persons that are looking to make big investments in the US. Maybe they'll look at the asylum situation that's currently taking place globally. With the massive influx of Syrian migrants going over to Iraq and Turkey, perhaps they would open up their borders and take more, as they have now limited any sort of asylum seekers from that region to the US. They could explain that it does not fall in line with the history and the spirit, the American spirit, and so therefore more attention would be open to the asylum seekers abroad looking to escape oppression. Another fact or a place that might be of greater importance for Democrats are the detention of child migrants. There's a lot of talk about sort of this image of children in cages, whatever the case may be, separated from their parents for many reasons. Perhaps, their parents came into the US undocumented, and therefore the child is then undocumented as well. So those types of scenarios, I think, would become a bigger topic for Democrats should they reach the office. But nevertheless, when it comes to EB5, do I think it would be negatively impacted? I don't think so. It might just sort of stay stagnant and stay where it's at. Or there might be greater regulations to help investors make an informed decision. Another thing along those lines could happen. The EB5 program, nevertheless, seems like it's here to stay, whether Trump receives his second term or the pendulum swings over to the Democrats. I don't sense it's a program that would abolish. As capital markets continue to expand around the world, there's a great appetite for investment immigration programs for every Western nation. And so I don't think that the US is going to shut down its current program. It might even expand. Thank you again. This is Shai Zamanian from the American Legal Center here in Dubai. I'm a director here, so if you have questions, reach out to me. Perhaps we can discuss about these topics and any other relevant topics according to EB5.